The Starbucks, located in a modern building in the business district, attracts a diverse clientele and is known for its serene atmosphere during the day. At night, however, the environment becomes eerily silent, with a sense of unease permeating the air. During the day, the cafe is a vibrant and welcoming place, frequented by professionals, students, and locals. The modern decor and pleasant ambiance make Starbucks a popular spot for meetings and study sessions. As night falls, the store empties out, and a peculiar stillness sets in. This transition from a bustling environment to a quiet and somewhat mysterious space is noticed by many but rarely openly discussed among employees and customers. Julia, a marketing intern, is the protagonist of the story. Young and curious, she works at Starbucks to supplement her income while studying. Her passion for mystery and the supernatural makes her particularly sensitive to anything out of the ordinary. With a friendly and inquisitive personality, Julia quickly adapts to the work environment, becoming a popular figure among customers and colleagues. She sees the job at the cafe as an opportunity to learn more about customer service and management, while also nurturing her interest in curious and unexplained stories. Initially skeptical about the rumors of paranormal activities in the building, Julia's natural curiosity is piqued by the strange events she begins to notice during her night shifts. Her open mind and desire to understand the inexplicable motivate her to investigate further. Julia often opts for night shifts, taking advantage of the quiet to study and reflect. These nights are generally calm, with few customers, allowing her to organize the store and review her study materials. During these shifts, Julia starts to notice a series of inexplicable phenomena: soft noises, strange shadows, and eventually whispering voices. These incidents heighten her curiosity and convince her that something unusual is happening at the site. The sense of mystery and the quest for answers begin to consume Julia, who decides to investigate more about the building's history and the events that could explain these manifestations. Her initial interest in the supernatural turns into a need to uncover the truth. As night falls, the atmosphere at Starbucks changes. The silence becomes oppressive and the feeling that something is wrong grows. Julia notices that the store seems different at night, as if an invisible presence is watching. During these hours, Julia focuses on her tasks but cannot ignore the small sounds and movements that seem to occur just out of her peripheral vision. The sensation of being watched is constant, increasing her discomfort and curiosity. Regular customers and some colleagues also mention a feeling of unease during the night, but the descriptions are vague, and no one seems willing to discuss it openly. These reports, combined with her own experiences, lead Julia to conclude that there is something real behind the stories about the building. On a particularly silent night, Julia hears whispering voices for the first time while cleaning the store after closing. The voices seem to come from all directions, indistinct but undeniably present. She tries to locate the source of the sounds but finds no one. The voices are not clear enough for Julia to understand specific words, but the tone is urgent and laden with emotion. The experience is disturbing, leaving her with a sense of unease and insatiable curiosity. She wonders if the voices could be related to the rumors that the building is haunted. After the incident, Julia starts paying more attention to the noises and shadows in the store. She shares her experiences with a few colleagues, but most dismiss her concerns, attributing them to fatigue or imagination. However, Julia is convinced that there is more to it and decides to investigate the site's history. Determined to understand what is happening, Julia begins researching the building's history. She discovers that Starbucks was built on the site of a school that suffered a tragic fire, resulting in the deaths of several children and staff. The records about the fire are sparse but mention screams and cries for help heard during the tragedy. The information about the school and the fire is fragmented, but Julia comes across old articles suggesting that the tragedy was not fully investigated. There are insinuations that the fire may have been caused by negligence or even intentional, but these allegations were never confirmed. The lack of clarity and unresolved stories start to make sense to Julia, who sees a connection between the tragic past and the inexplicable events she is experiencing. Convinced that the voices are from trapped spirits, Julia decides there must be a way to help them find peace. She begins to consider the possibility that her mission is to uncover the truth and give voice to the souls still trapped in that place. Her quest for answers becomes personal and urgent, driving her to delve deeper into the mystery. Motivated by her desire to understand what is happening, Julia decides to explore the site where the old school was located. During one of her days off, she visits the plot next to Starbucks, now an abandoned and neglected space. The plot is covered with vegetation, with remnants of old buildings that were demolished after the fire. As she explores the site, Julia feels a strange sense of familiarity and unease. She walks around, trying to imagine what it was like in the past, and comes across an old wooden door covered in ivy and partially hidden by vegetation. The door has a large rusty padlock and a faded sign that says, "Do not enter." Julia's curiosity is immediately piqued, but as she approaches the door, she is overcome by a sense of dread. Suddenly, she begins to hear the same whispering voices she heard in the store, but this time they are louder and more insistent. Frightened, Julia quickly backs away, feeling her heart race and a wave of panic engulf her. She runs from the site, confused and scared by the experience. Have you ever encountered something that cannot be explained? Subscribe to our channel and explore more mysteries like this. Leave your like and share your supernatural experiences. What do you think Julia will find behind that door? Don't miss the continuation of this intriguing story and other chilling tales. Subscribe now and stay tuned. After her frightening experience at the abandoned site, Julia returns to Starbucks and shares what happened with some colleagues. The story of the site and the door with the "Do Not Enter" sign elicits mixed reactions. Some employees are intrigued and even scared, while others remain skeptical, attributing everything to Julia's imagination and old stories about the site. The Starbucks manager, concerned for Julia's well-being and the growing rumors among the staff, decides to investigate further. She consults historical records and talks to longtime residents of the area, trying to piece together the puzzle about the old school and the fire. Meanwhile, the atmosphere in the store becomes tense, with more employees reporting hearing strange sounds and voices during their shifts. With growing curiosity and concern, the team decides to explore the site again, this time with management's permission. They plan an organized visit, aiming to discover more about the mysterious door and what might be behind it. The team prepares to face the unknown, armed with flashlights and a new determination to uncover the mystery. Despite her curiosity and recent experiences, Julia has always considered herself a rational and skeptical person regarding the supernatural. As a marketing professional, she is used to analyzing data and seeking logical explanations for phenomena. Her training and experience have made her a critical thinker who questions everything before accepting any conclusions. However, the events she witnessed at Starbucks and the abandoned site challenged her beliefs and forced her to reconsider her worldview. The voices, the feelings of being watched, and now the intense experience with the mysterious door all seem to point to something beyond what she can rationally explain. This dissonance leaves her uncomfortable, but also more determined to find an explanation. Julia decides to use her marketing skills to investigate more deeply, approaching the situation as she would a market research campaign. She begins collecting reports from colleagues and customers, trying to identify patterns and better understand what is happening. Her methodical and data-driven approach helps her maintain calm and clarity of thought, even in the face of the inexplicable. As part of her investigation, Julia decides to delve even deeper into the building's and neighboring plots' history. She visits local libraries, consults newspaper archives, and talks to city historians. Her efforts reveal a rich and dark history, full of mysteries and tragedies that go beyond the school fire. She discovers that before it was a school, the plot housed a mansion of a prominent family known for its secretive and controversial practices. There are records of mysterious disappearances and rumors that the family was involved in occult activities. These dark details add a new layer of complexity to Julia's investigation, suggesting that the site may have been a convergence point for paranormal activities for decades. Julia begins to consider the possibility that the locked door with the padlock might be a connection point between these historical events and the current phenomena. She feels that she is getting closer to a significant discovery, but also feels a growing apprehension about what she might find. Determined to move forward, she prepares to face the unknown with a mixture of skepticism and openness to whatever comes. Determined to investigate the locked door, Julia returns to the abandoned plot. This time, she is more psychologically prepared but decides not to force the entry or try to open the padlock. Instead, she walks around the site, observing the surroundings and trying to capture any additional clues that might have been overlooked before. Julia notices that the plot is covered with dense vegetation, with few signs of maintenance or recent visits. She feels a growing tension as she approaches the door but does not dare to try to open it. The feeling of being watched is palpable, and although she does not see or hear anything concrete, the presence of the unknown is undeniable. Without discovering anything new, but with the conviction that something is hidden there, Julia returns to Starbucks, determined to seek more information and possibly external help. She feels that she is at a crossroads where her decisions could bring peace or reveal long-buried secrets. While reflecting on her discoveries, memories of Julia's childhood surface, especially the tragedy that marked her life. The death of her uncle in a drowning accident in their home pool. This event left a deep mark on her, generating both fear and fascination with the unknown and what might exist beyond life. Julia's deeply Catholic family sought solace in religion, but for her, the event was the catalyst for a search for answers that followed her throughout her life. She has always been drawn to the mystery of death and what might exist after it, leading her to explore various beliefs and ideas, including the supernatural. This family tragedy, combined with her recent experiences, rekindled Julia's desire to understand what happens after death and how people deal with grief and mystery. This quest for understanding motivates her to continue investigating, even in the face of fear and uncertainty. In her adolescence, Julia explored various spiritualist sects that promised contact with spirits and answers about the afterlife. Attracted by the possibility of understanding more about death and the supernatural, she participated in several sessions, hoping to find some form of solace or truth. However, these experiences were largely disappointing. The sects she attended seemed more interested in exploiting sensationalism and profit than providing real answers. The sessions often lacked any substance or evidence of authenticity, leaving Julia more skeptical than before. These experiences shaped her skepticism toward the supernatural, but also left her with a persistent desire to find true answers. Julia learned to be critical and cautious regarding extraordinary claims, but her curiosity and need to understand the unexplained never left her. After sharing her discoveries with her colleagues and reflecting on her own history, Julia decides that she needs more information before taking any action regarding the locked door. She returns to the plot, but this time her exploration is more careful and focused on observing details that might have been overlooked before. Julia notices that the plot is covered with dense vegetation, with few signs of maintenance or recent visits. She feels a growing tension as she approaches the door but does not dare to try to open it. The feeling of being watched is palpable, and although she does not see or hear anything concrete, the presence of the unknown is undeniable. Without discovering anything new, but with the conviction that something is hidden there, Julia returns to Starbucks, determined to seek more information and possibly external help. She feels that she is at a crossroads where her decisions could bring peace or reveal long-buried secrets. The experience at the plot leaves Julia with more questions than answers. She feels that she is close to discovering something important, but also realizes that she needs more information and support to proceed. Determined to understand better, she begins to plan a more structured approach to her investigation. Julia considers involving specialists, such as local historians or even paranormal investigators, to help unravel the mystery. She understands that the locked door might be the key to understanding the inexplicable phenomena she has witnessed, but she also knows she must act cautiously not to disturb possible unknown forces. As she ponders her next steps, Julia feels a growing responsibility to uncover the truth, not just for her own peace of mind, but also for the spirits that might be trapped there. The idea of bringing clarity and perhaps peace to these souls motivates her to continue her investigation, despite the risks involved. The voices Julia heard earlier begin to return, but now they are less frequent and weaker, as if waiting for her to take action. She feels increasing pressure to do something, but also fears the possible consequences of meddling with the unknown. Anxiety begins to affect her, both mentally and physically, making it difficult to concentrate and increasing her restlessness. Amidst this tension, Julia continues working at Starbucks, where the atmosphere seems increasingly charged. Colleagues and customers also report a sense of discomfort, which only heightens the urgency Julia feels to resolve the mystery. Each passing day, the line between fear and curiosity grows thinner, pushing her to act. Determined not to be paralyzed by fear, Julia decides that it is time to seek external help. She considers consulting local history experts and possibly a medium or paranormal investigator, someone who can offer a different perspective and maybe a solution to the voices and presence she feels. As Julia plans her next move, she begins to notice small signs of more intense paranormal activities. Objects move by themselves, lights flicker inexplicably, and the sensation of being watched becomes almost constant. These events increase her conviction that something powerful and inexplicable is happening. Determined to find answers, Julia finally gathers the courage to organize a meeting with experts and colleagues interested in the mystery. They agree to explore the plot and the locked door more seriously, perhaps even trying to enter if necessary. The preparation for this event is tense, with everyone aware that they are venturing into unknown territory. The night before the planned meeting, Julia has a vivid dream in which the whispering voices become clear and desperate, begging for help. She wakes up in a cold sweat, feeling that time is running out to solve the mystery. Convinced that she needs to act, Julia prepares for the encounter with a mix of fear and determination. On the day of the meeting, Julia arrives at Starbucks earlier, feeling nervous and anxious. She goes to the bathroom to wash her face and try to calm down, but upon entering, she is shocked to see words written on the mirror with a red substance. "Break the lock, we need help." The message is clear and direct, seeming like a plea from the spirits. The message on the mirror leaves her stunned, and she feels a wave of panic and anxiety. The voices and the message seem to confirm that something very serious and urgent is happening. She tries to process what she saw, but the tension and fear are overwhelming. The image of the words on the mirror is etched in her mind, leaving her in a state of shock. Julia, feeling overwhelmed, faints in the bathroom, soon being found by her colleagues. The team, concerned about her condition, quickly helps her, but the message on the mirror leaves everyone uneasy. With Julia unconscious and the message still clear, the team understands that they are dealing with something beyond their comprehension and that the story is far from over. Want to know what happens next? Julia and the Starbucks team are just beginning to uncover this mystery. Subscribe to our channel and activate notifications so you don't miss any updates on this intriguing story. Leave your comments and theories below and share this story with your friends. What do you think Julia will find next?